Let me ask you a simple question. If the opportunity of a lifetime showed up today, could you take advantage of it? If your income stopped today, how long could you survive? Now, most Americans don't have an answer for either of those questions, and it's why they feel constant financial pressure. I'm Kyle, and I help people build systems and models around the world of banking, tough money, and generational wealth. And in this video, I want to help you break down a very intentional liquidity strategy. Now, liquidity is twofold because it protects you in time of need, but it also sets you up for massive opportunity. It is twofold in the money game. So with that, let's dive right in and talk about a liquidity strategy. Now, we're going to go back to question 3 of what I believe are the 5 most important financial questions you'll ever be asked. And question 3 is, do you know how much you should be holding in cash reserves to guarantee your protection and opportunities when events happen? So like I said, liquidity is twofold. You need cash reserves to protect yourself against events. Loss of income could be an event, but you also need cash reserves so that when the opportunity of a lifetime shows up, you can move on it quickly and make it happen and build massive wealth during that same time frame. So let's talk about liquidity and how to calculate an intentional strategy. Now, we're going to be working through one of the pages and chapters in the Tough Money Workbook. And this workbook is designed to bring you closer to your money, give you more clarity, perspective, and awareness so you can make better, more informed decisions about your wealth plan. Now, when it comes to liquidity, everyone's calculation for this is going to be different, by the way. You can contrast that to a strategy like saving. Saving is pretty universal. You got to save 10% of your income minimum, ideally, well above that. But the minimum's got to be 10%. And when it comes to liquidity, this could be all over the place. People have 3 months of reserves. I've seen people with 10 years plus of cash reserves. Everyone's going to carry a different amount of cash reserves or liquidity based off their life experiences, their risk profile, and opportunities that are currently in their world. So, like I said, liquidity is twofold. It's a foundational part of your health plan, but it's also used as a huge acceleration piece by jumping on opportunity. And so step 13 of building tough money in your life is calculating our current days of liquidity. So let's assume you're spending $138,000 per year. Now, the issue I have here with annual expenses, annual incomes, things like this is we don't really think about anything else in our financial world annually. Most of the financial decisions we make will be monthly, if not daily. And so it's important to take something like annual expenses. Our family typically spends around $138,000 per year. Well, I want to break that down, and if we divide that number by 365, one day for each day of the year, it's going to give us what's called our daily burn rate. So in this case, a family that spends $138,000 per year, what that equates to daily is $378 per day to maintain your current lifestyle. And doing this quick exercise, there's really only 2 outcomes here. When people do this for the first time, their response is, ooh, good. It's right about where I thought it was. Like that seems healthy to me. And the only other emotional response to this is, oh my gosh, how is this so high? I didn't realize it was costing us this much money per day to live. And when you can reduce things to monthly timeframes, annual or daily timeframes, I think you get more clarity and perspective. Like you don't tell people my mortgage is $36,000 per year. You say $3,000 a month. My car payment is not $6,000 per year. It is $500 per month. We understand monthly and daily timeframes better. And this is a very important number to know. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to go calculate how much total liquidity do I currently have? What are the total liquid assets I'm currently holding on my balance sheet? Now, this is not home equity. This is not retirement accounts, stocks, anything like that that could be associated with risk. This is going to be anything that is qualified as a liquid, safe environment. So it has to be liquid and it has to be accessible. And so this would be checking accounts, savings accounts, CDs. You could throw treasuries in there, whole life cash value. Would definitely be in here as well. Anything that's very safe, very liquid. So let's assume this family total between some cash value life insurance, some CDs, some savings, some cash in their safe at home, they've got about $50,000 of liquidity. So we're going to take that 50 grand, we're going to divide it by their daily burn rate, 378. And that's going to give you your current days of liquidity. So in this case, this family, if they were to lose income, they could survive for 132 days before they would start to feel some serious financial pressure. Now the question is that enough for me? And one of the easiest ways, I think, for you to gauge this without math is when you go to bed at night and you're putting your head on your pillow, if you're feeling any type of financial pressure, you don't have enough liquidity. Keep increasing this until it gets to a point where when you go to sleep at night, you go, I really am not worried about anything. Some investments could go wrong, the stock market could go down, I could lose some income for a while, and I'm feeling no financial pressure. That's typically when you know you have enough of the foundational pieces that you need for liquidity. So just a good rule of thumb there. Now, we want to compare our current days of liquidity against what we commonly see across America, which is about 27 days is what the average American is holding. And the reason that's an issue is because if you go, in this case, 1 month without income, you're feeling serious financial pressure. So we want to get out of the common, we want to go to uncommon. So we'd recommend 3 months, 6 months, ideally minimum. I love seeing people with over a year, and we've got people in our world that we've served have 6 months all the way up to, I've seen it as high as 20 years of liquidity, which is unbelievable. So when we look at this across the US, we've all heard this, cash is king. And if we believe that, then I want to know who really has it. Because I'm out here in the Phoenix area, average number of days of liquidity for business owners, and this is based off of a study that the JP Morgan Chase Institute did, looking at 600,000 small business owners, is Phoenix area, 25 days of liquidity. So on average, most Americans and business owners are carrying less than a month of cash reserves. I'll tell you, that is not enough to protect you against events, and it's definitely not enough to set you up for the right opportunities. So if you're watching this video and you're like, oh my gosh, this explains a lot. This is why I'm always kind of like in this high anxiety panic mode. Or if this explains your thought process on, man, I'm going to miss another opportunity. There's a market shift happening. There's a recession coming, but I'm never in a strong enough cash position to jump on these opportunities. This is exactly why. It's because our liquidity strategy is not dialed in. So once we have the current days, we want to measure that against common Americans. So where are you? You closer to the 27? Or are you closer to like the 180? Keep going up until you're sleeping really good at night. Now, step 14 is, if we know where we're currently at with liquidity, we need to set a target. So maybe you're revisiting your annual expenses saying, you know what, we're overspending. We got too much low value spending and we need to take off about $12,000 of unnecessary spending, or $1,000 a month. Let's get rid of the low value spending, convert it to savings. So you might say my target annual expenses is going to be less than what we're currently spending. This will also bump up your daily burn, or bump down your daily burn rate, which will bump up your days of liquidity. So once you take that, if you say, hey, we need to eliminate some of the low value spending, well, our new target daily burn rate should be like 345, not 378. That's only a like $30 difference. It's not a huge impact, but $30 over a day, over a year, ends up being around $12,000. So small little decisions compound over time. So next thing you want to do is you want to set a target day of liquidity. How many days do you want to see? If you're currently at 132, would you like to see 730? By the way, that's 2 years of liquidity. And so this is where you kind of have to go do some self-reflection and say, okay, how am I built? What's my risk profile? If something were to happen to my career, my job, my business today, am I going to take 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, a year to figure things out? Or would I go find a new way to generate income and opportunity very quickly? And everyone is so different on this. Like, not everyone needs a full year to go figure it out. Some of us would figure it out in 2 weeks, could be 4 months, but pick a number that is so safe. Like, if this is 2 years of liquidity, what has to happen in your financial world? Loss of income, stock market crash, recession, real estate bubble burst, whatever that is, would you have enough time to recover and figure this out with this number? And part of your liquidity is, you're doing this so you stay in business. It doesn't matter if you had 10 years of great investments if one event wipes you out. So this is part of the protection piece of, I need this number to protect me in time of need, okay? So next thing is, you can look at this in a few different ways. Everyone's different. You can monitor this with days, Well, if I know my target daily burn rate is now 345, that's where we need to go, and I want 730,000 or 730 days of cash reserves. If you take those numbers and times them by themselves, you know I need $252,000 sitting in a checking account, treasuries, whole life insurance, cash values, some liquid, safe environment, but that's about the dollar amount. So some people think of liquidity in number of days. It could be dollar amounts. My personal preference is percentages. And the reason I like percentages is because it's scalable. So most of you watching this video, you have a current net worth, you have a current income, you have a current passive income, and you want to do more in the future. You want a higher net worth, you want more passive income, you want a bigger, greater active income potentially. And so I've always been a big fan of percentage-based savings, because if you're just saving $10,000 a year, when you go from making, $100,000 a year to $500,000 a year, if you're still saving 10 grand, it's not enough to scale with you. But if you're saving as a percentage, saving 30% of your income at 100,000 versus 30% of your income at 500,000, the percentage scales with you, and you're always in a really tough, and tough is good financially, in a tough position. Same thing with your liquidity. If you have $252,000 of liquid reserves, that might be great now, but when you hit that $5 million net worth, when you hit that $10 million net worth, $252,000 could be, a couple of bad months in your business at that time. So I like percentage-based equations. So if I have $1 million net worth, my target liquid reserves, I want to see between 20 and 30%. Everyone's going to be different with this, by the way, as well. I've seen people with 80% of their net worth is acceleration in investments. 20% of it is in secure, safe assets, the foundation. Me personally, I want to see over 40% in my own personal world. That's my target. I tend to lean more towards the conservative side. I want to be safer and then be very aggressive when the big opportunities come up, and having a higher liquidity ratio definitely helps me with that. So let's wrap it up with this. Liquidity, it's twofold. Part of it is the protection, the foundational piece. How long could you survive if you go without income? And the other side is the opportunity and acceleration. When events happen, that liquidity buffer you have will become one of the greatest tools you have for wealth building. And let's revisit back to our path of money. See, as money's flowing through our life, we got to make sure that we're spending enough, we're donating enough, we're saving enough. As soon as we can save enough money, that is the first thing that's going to start building your balance sheet of assets you own and control. The more you hold as liquid cash reserves, the sooner you get to go out and invest. And I'll tell you, the bigger the cash reserves you have, the more protection you have, the better you sleep, you show up differently for your family, for your business. And not if, but when the big events come, that's when you can move money from your liquidity pool into the acceleration part of your wealth game to create a fortune. And I think the best way to sum it up is this graphic. It's called the tough money effect. You see, your ability to thrive financially over time, not if, but when events happen, will be dictated by how tough is your money. And part of that toughness is going to be coming from understanding your liquidity reserves. So when an event happens, you get fired, you lose a job, there's a recession, your business gets hit hard. If you do not have tough money and cash reserves, you're going to feel a lot of pain and discomfort financially. Now, let's use 2008 as an example. 2008, there were two types of people. There were people who got obliterated in the Great Recession and lost everything, but there were people at the same time that survived 2008. Yeah, they hit some bumps and they had some bruises as well, but when that real estate went at a massive discount in 2010, 11, 12, just a few years after 2008, people created fortunes during the exact same event, and the key indicator there was liquidity. And so make sure that you book an appointment with me and reach out, and I'll take you through what's called a path of money analysis, and I'll help you understand liquidity as part of your wealth plan, so that you know you can make the very next best move for your wealth journey and trying to achieve that ideal life of abundance in all areas of life. So as always, remember, choose truth over trends, education over product, and people over profit.